The Road Not Taken, written by Deepali Punekar, published in the year 2005. Some time back, the media had reported about a Dalit girl hailing from a village in Orissa who was prevented from going college on a bicycle. I was pained to read about this and sincerely hope that things will take a turn for the better with the passage of time. The Dalit girl's unfortunate experience struck a familiar note for me because my mother encountered a similar problem in early 50s. After finishing her nursing diploma, mother had joined government service and her first posting was in a primary health center of a tiny nondescript village in Uttar Pradesh. Besides attending to the needs of patients at the health center, mother was also required to tour the neighboring village, giving vaccines to children and spreading awareness about various health related issues. Being a city bred girl, mother had brought along her cycle so that she could go places easily. This was a heavy duty bike meant to withstand rough riding conditions. It also had a dynamo lamp, which really was a must as she often had to attend to emergencies during night hours. The bicycle was certainly very convenient for Mama. Every day in the morning, a lone figure dressed in a white cotton sari would ride a cycle through the dusty village streets. But the village folk did not take kindly to the sight of a lady on a cycle. It was something they had never seen before. Imagine a lady dressed in a sari with a kumkum, bangles, and a Mangal Sutra, the very epitome of the traditional Indian woman. Imagine such a woman riding a bicycle with her head held high. It was too much for the village folk to take in. One day, when mother had just got off her bicycle at the village health center, she was surrounded by a group of angry villagers threatening to confiscate her bike if she continued to move around on it. That day, a meeting of the village panchayat was called. The Sarpanch, who presided over the meeting, passed the solemn resolution that mother would have to give up her bike as it was not in keeping with the modesty and dignity of a Bharatiya Nari. Instead, he said that the young men of the village would take turns to carry her on their cycles to nearby villages. This was, of course, sheer madness, and all that the villagers had done was to make things extra difficult for Mamma. One night, as she lay in bed thinking about what lay ahead, she heard a knock on the door. It was the village Sarpanch and his wife with their youngest son. The boy was running high fever and needed medical attention. As the doctor on duty hadn't turned up for days, immediate hospitalization was needed. How could they possibly make it to the nearest hospital some 8 kilometers away in a bullock cart? Besides, no villager would dare to stir out of his house at the time of the night for fear of demons and spirits. But mother had no such fear. Putting on a shawl, she spoke a few words to the Sarpanch, who now seemed to understand. Mother got her cycle out and placed the lad gently on the carrier. The next moment, she had mounted her bike and was quietly cycling down the road. A few days later, the boy was back from the hospital as strong and healthy as ever, and mother felt very happy. The Sarpanch and his wife were, no doubt, grateful, but were too stunned to say anything. Soon afterwards, mother was back on her cycle, pedaling softly down the village streets. No one dared to say a word now. Thank you. Now, some of the words and their meaning. I was pained to read about this, and I sincerely hope that things will take a turn for the better with the passage of time. Passage of time means passing or elapsing of time. This was a heavy duty bike meant to withstand rough riding conditions. It also had a dynamo lamp. Dynamo means a device that changes energy from movement of something such as wind or water into electricity. It was something they had never seen before. Imagine a lady dressed in a sari with a kumkum, bangles, and mangalsutra, the very epitome of the traditional Indian woman. Epitome means a perfect example of something. One day, when mother had just got off her bicycle at the village health center, she was surrounded by a group of angry villagers threatening to confiscate her bike. Confiscate means to take something away from somebody as a punishment. The Sarpanch who presided over the meeting passed the solemn resolution that mother would have to give up her bike as it was not in keeping with the modesty and dignity of a Bharati Nari. Modest means decent, observing the properties of dress and behavior. Solemn resolution. Solemn means very serious. Resolution means an official decision that is made after a group or organization has voted. This was, of course, sheer madness. Sheer means utter, altogether. Thank you very much.